Welcome to the Entertainment Rants Podcast, your number one opinion source for all things entertainment. Join host Marco Mazzola as he sounds off on the latest movies, TV, music, gaming, comic books, and more. Now, here's the man of the hour, Marco Mazzola.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Entertainment Rants Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Marco Mazzola, and back with us is my very special friend, Mike Breaux from The Breaux Show. Hello, Mike.
Ho, ho, ho. Welcome. I'm here talk about stuff, things and crazy things all the time. Let's do it.
Yes, let's do it. Today, we're going to be talking about the holiday. Christmas is coming up, right? It's this will drop in sometime in November, this episode. So we're going to start seeing the holiday specials, your Rudolphs, your Frosties, and all that kind of stuff. Christmas movies are going to start coming aboard again, the old, the new. So today we're going to go through and just kind of run through all of our favorites and discuss some of the old holiday specials and what it was like back when we were younger to watch them compared to what it is now to watch them. It's a very different experience. So
back then we had to be there at a certain time to watch it on the TV itself, and if we missed it, we missed it.
8:30 at night, that Rudolph was coming on, you missed it, you're screwed, man. You gotta wait a year to watch it. Like, you were glued. You had that TV guide circled, ready to go. You knew when it was coming on. It was shut the hell up, I'm going to watch Rudolph, don't bug me. Hey, you gotta go do this. No, I don't. I gotta watch Rudolph. And you didn't. You were done. If
you were lucky, sometimes your stations would play it, maybe 3 weeks before, and then like Christmas Eve itself, or Thanksgiving Eve itself, or something like that. That's
the big ones. Like Rudolph, I feel like they would do that once or twice.
Yep.
One of my favorites, which is I've come across a lot of people who don't know what it is the night before Christmas.
Yes.
That's with the mice.
Yes, with the little mice running around and everything.
It is still one of my favorites. I will rewatch that every year. The song that's in it, I'll play it in a little second. That's one of my favorites. I don't know why. The animation is the Rankin Bass animation.
Yeah.
But I don't know, for some reason, it really stuck with me. Even though it is very 70s, trippy, dippy, some of the songs are, and you have they're doing the leprechaun and he's going through and he's discussing, but it's weird to watch now. It's very acid trippy, but if it's still, for somebody who doesn't do any of that stuff, it's still weird to watch that, but it's always
what it is. It followed that formula of the Hobbits movie that they did way back when too. The same Rankin Bass. That's what they did. That was their look.
The giant eyes and
they tried to translate that stop motion animation look to a cell animated cartoon. Yes. Now, was it trippy to look at? Yes. Was the story fun and very heartfelt to watch? Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. That's why we still remember it to this day. And I think if kids watched it today, they'd see past the trippiness, quote unquote. Right. And see it as something very heartfelt. Yes. Although, I don't know, there's a lot of what was in that? A lot of actually the mice stirring, quite literally, the mice were stirring.
Right, because the mice were like the main, a big part of it, because the father built the clock because the mouse, the young mouse, wrote a letter to Santa saying that him and his friends, they don't believe in him, basically, and so that Santa wasn't coming to their town. He sent back all their letters, and so the father built the giant clock. The human father built the clock to invite Santa back, and then the little mouse decided to check out because he's a nerd, basically, his geek classes. And he always had to figure everything out. He went and he broke it. He broke it. So his
little thinker, he broke it.
Was when the father mouse comes to him and he's like, Alfred, and he goes, "Yes, father." Did you? He goes, "Yes, father. It was me." He wasn't just saying, he wasn't responding yes, like, "What do you want?" I already knew what his father was going to ask. Like, "Yes," I said, "Yes, father." Like that still rings in my head. It's still one of my favorite scenes. Do you want to hear a little bit of the song?
Yeah, yes.
Let's play a little bit of the song.
Now, don't go saying that. The night's not over yet. There's always hope. Miracles happen most every day to people like you and me. But don't expect a miracle unless you help make it to be. So you hope, and I'll hurry. You pray, and I'll plan. We'll do.
Oh man,
that just brings back memories.
Even a miracle needs a hand.
Still one of my favorites. Will always be one of my favorites. I love that movie. Like I said, I could watch that over and over and over again.
You know what? Hearing that after so long, and it's been a while for me to hear it, I'm getting goosebumps. Like actual
Right?
little
It totally
goosebumps.
does.
Just hearing
It
that.
absolutely zaps you back to you being, 5-year-old kid
Uh-huh.
waiting. Christmas is coming, Santa's coming. This is gonna happen. It's our holiday. This is what we do. This is what we wait for all year long.
Yep.
It definitely jumps back those nostalgic feelings. So 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. That is definitely up on my list highest. Talk to me about your ultimate favorite. What is your top of
My
your list? Can't miss it.
Honestly, my ultimate favorite is probably everybody's big ultimate favorite, and that's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It's again that
Yes.
Rankin Bass.
Mhm.
Came out in 1966 or 67, and it's a staple. It still plays on CBS every year at least once,
Yes. Yep.
and it's
At least
available on
once.
at least once. And the
They
fact
tried
that
to
it was
They
huh?
tried to did they try to take it off? I don't think they tried to take it
They
off or was
That was Peanuts they tried to take off. They
right,
tried
but
to take that
well,
to
they
Apple
yeah,
TV.
and because Apple bought Peanuts.
Right. But Rudolph is still played every year, and I love the fact that it was the basis for, like, the movie Elf
64.
and their look and
Yep.
everything too, which I thought was really cool, but the fact that it was stop motion animation, it felt more real, even though
Yep.
it was so old and it's so dated.
Right.
And I love a lot of the trivia behind it too, including the letter writing campaign from the first year that changed the ending. Do you know about this?
That I don't know.
So, if you watch the special initially, the very first airing of it, you
Yeah.
see Santa promise the Land of Misfit Toys that he will come back and pick them up to take them to kids across the world. He
Right.
doesn't do that. You never see him dropping off those toys at the end of the episode, the end of the show. You're like, Santa left him. So there was a letter writing campaign to Rankin Bass to let them know Santa didn't get the Land of Misfit Toys. So
Right, you never went back to get them.
they didn't go back and get them, so they changed
Like
the
that
ending. They
liar.
went back and reanimated where they're dropping off
Yes.
some of the Misfit toys, including I think it was the goldfish in a bowl or whatever without a
Yeah,
parachute.
the
Like,
bird,
what?
he was a bird.
Yeah,
Your
what
goldfish
the
bird in the bowl,
yeah,
yeah. I
no
know that
parachute.
because we'll talk about these eventually, is I have all the toys. I have all
I
those CVS, like, I have pretty much the entire collection. I don't have the giant, Snow Abominable, but I
I
have
do.
all the small. Do you have this? I have the mid-size furry one.
Yep.
I have the
I have
mid-size one, but I don't have, like, the giant. I wanna get the giant one, but I don't have the Santa's house. That, to me, that's the holy grail from that section because they have the Santa's house.
Yes. I will
That I
say from, my own collection and everything and working at, like, FAO Schwartz and whatnot back then, or back in '97 to '99, when those were coming out initially from Playing Mantis, I
Yep.
have nearly the entire set. I don't think I have the house, but I have the large abominable with the, tree. I have
How high
Santa's
is he? Is he like 18 inches? Like, he's
It's
massive.
like 16 inches tall.
Something like that, yeah.
It's huge,
I have,
and
like, let's see, 8-inch one, whatever it is.
he doesn't have teeth, which is
Yeah,
hilarious to me.
yeah.
The tree actually lights up. I also have a little bit rarer set is the full Santa sleigh
Yeah, I
with
have that
Santa
with all the
himself,
reindeer.
with all the reindeer,
What
and
a
then
pain in the ass to set that up.
don't
They're
even get me
constantly
started.
falling, and they get tangled up in their reins. Oh,
Yep,
dear lord, is that a nightmare, but you know what? I don't care. Every year, I set the whole thing up on we have a buffet table. I put down, like, the fake
yep.
snow felt type stuff, and I set up the entire and I painstakingly set up a whole little scene with everything, and my wife, God bless her, she's got, like, the manger scene, basically,
Yeah.
those you get at the paper store, those dolls that, like, don't have a face.
Oh,
They
yeah,
call
yeah, yeah.
She loves those. She loves those. So I bought her the manger scene, and it's kind of shuffled to the right corner.
For
It gets its
this.
own little spot on the
Yep.
buffet, but it's off to the right corner. So the 90% of that whole thing is taken up by the Rudolph stuff because I have all the Misfit
Gotta
stuff,
have it.
all the elves, things like that.
And
And I
what
at some point I kind of like I knew I wasn't going to resell them, and I didn't have the box or anything like that. So they're not
Right.
mint by any means, but like some of the elves, I use those little clear discs and super glue their feet
Yeah.
to them. Those little
Yeah.
bastards fall
Oh,
over.
those things won't fall over. Oh, yeah, I know. I love
So
the
I had
fact
to
that
use
they
the
look
little oak
exactly
plates.
like the actual show, like, they modeled them
Mhm.
exactly like that. The fact that Rudolph, on every version, his nose lights up,
Yep.
and just 2 years ago, it was the first time I actually had to change the batteries on them
Yep.
because I
I
constantly was doing the batteries.
okay, so this is with all my Christmas ornaments, including my Rudolph stuff, I pull the batteries every year. I do not leave them in there because I know when I leave in storage, when I get back to them, they'll be
Oh, yeah.
exploded. So
Yeah,
you gotta make sure
exactly.
you pull those batteries after every season. Don't leave them in there over the year.
I
Yeah,
know
and I
there's some
generally
of
will
the
just I'll just go to Amazon and buy a pack of like a giant pack of those little, little tiny
Yep.
batteries because I know I'll either lose them or they're no good or whatever, and I don't want to get caught up setting up my tree or my Rudolph and not have batteries because 90% of my Christmas tree is Hallmark,
Oh, yeah.
ornaments that need batteries, and the other half is the ones that have the cord. So
Yeah. A
plug
little
in.
off tangent, but I have 9 66-quart bins of just Hallmark ornaments. it's insane. That's not including some of the toys and everything, and that's not even including the Ponda Baba set of reindeer that I have that my friend Fred made for me.
I just picked up some. My season started months ago when they did their first, unveil of the new ornaments, and I just picked up a couple other ones. So back to on Rudolph. Let's talk about Christmas ornaments in a little bit as well. Back to Rudolph. So it was 1939. It was actually an advertisement, right? Department of Marketing Award. They made it basically for Sears, right? They made a special, like it was an advertisement. That's how Rudolph himself came to be.
The little jingle and everything. Yep.
And then
they made the
show out of it.
special in the 60s.
I read somewhere most of the original dolls are gone, like they've been destroyed because they just got like they were given to someone who didn't really take care of them. They didn't preserve them,
right?
So, like
they're deteriorated
like that. And I think there's like one that's kind of in decent like shape, and I think she put them near like a heat or something like that, and they just melted.
Yep. There's a museum that now has like Rudolph and I think a Santa that's not as melted per se.
Right.
And they're preserved now, but that's it. None of the originals have survived, unfortunately. And they had the old wireframe body.
Like, they don't know enough to
save it.
I mean? Yeah.
Well, they were trying to do a quick special. They didn't think it was going to be something that was crazy or anything like that. So yeah.
So as we were saying, the Rudolph, the toys have mostly been gone away. The original, not the toys, the original dolls, the original models and things that they used to make the show are pretty much lost, melted. Like you said, a few of them are left in a museum, which is weird. Things like that happen all the time, especially with the older stuff. And just a little off topic, but I read somewhere that the original Hoggle from the Labyrinth is at an airport. Like they have it, it's on display at an airport because it was packed and shipped and they lost the luggage, and then eventually they found it and nobody picked it up, so it became theirs.
Wow.
They literally have it on display. Like they have a policy, like if you don't come pick it up, they just own it. They own whatever, you know what I mean? And they don't have to give it back to you. So like nobody found it, nobody knew what it was, and then like a long time later, like, hey, I know what the hell this is, and it's literally now it's theirs on display. If they want it back, it's like $1,000 to get the Hoggle back.
He's still lost. Poor guy.
Yeah, pretty much. Wandering around an airport somewhere like Tom Hanks. So anyway, all right. So Rudolph is your favorite. Got some most iconic songs, obviously, some iconic moments. It's a weird tale, right? At the end of the day, it is a weird tale because it's a tale of like exclusionary, like they're excluding him because he looks different. And at the end of the day, the only reason they include him is because they need him, right? They need him. They basically need to use him as a light, as a beacon. So Santa's kind of, it's weird because Santa's kind of shitty. Like he's like, I don't want this thing on my sleigh until like, oh, that nose is gonna get us to save Christmas. So yeah, can we use you now? So it's a weird tale for kids to listen to. You know what I mean? Like, but back then, that was acceptable.
Right.
Like, that's like, oh, this is a great tale. Look, this Rudolph, he's now part of the gang, and he's there, and everybody loves him now. Yeah, they love him because they need him. They still don't like his deformity, but they need it.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think there's a great holiday episode from Cheers, their Thanksgiving episode. Dr. Fraser Crane actually summed it up best. And I've got the quote here. I got to say it because it just
go do it. I want to hear it. I vaguely remember this.
Yep. So he goes, apparently then, Woody, you are unaware of the story that Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is one of the most unrealistic, therefore potentially damaging in all of children's music. It gives them a horribly distorted view of reality. No, I'm serious. For first, the other reindeer tease and then ostracize him. And then when his abnormality proves of service, they use him. But then they do allow him to play their stupid reindeer games? Oh, no, I know how the song goes. In fact, not only do Donner, Blitzen et al. Not love him and laugh out loud with glee, but they doubly despise the bulbous nosed little wimp.
Isn't that great? Leave it to Fraser. Not only was it there, he makes it as long-winded as possible.
Right, exactly.
He makes as long-winded and gas-baggy as possible. Leave it to Fraser Crane. We'll talk about Fraser in another episode. That's one of my favorite shows of all time. All right.
My God.
So we can talk about 'Twas the Night Before, Rudolph. Let's talk about some of the other ones. Frosty, yay or nay? The original Frosty. None of that Frosty Returns crap.
Not the Frosty Returns. No, he doesn't need. I mean,
that's annoying. The voice. I forget who did it, but it's of somebody who's famous who did the voice for the second one. Thank you. I don't like when they do that. Like the original is the original. I get they have to update for new people, but like they're still playing the original stuff, and it still works. It still translates.
And you have to have Rudolph and you have to have Frosty the Snowman together back to back.
Yep.
If you're gonna watch them, you got to watch them back to back, and then you watch the Peanuts Christmas special because that's just the penultimate.
Rudolph one is long. Like most of them are half hour, which translates to 22 minutes
Right.
runtime. But
Rudolph
Rudolph
is
is
about
like, it's an
45
hour
minutes
show.
with commercials.
Right.
Yep.
So I mean that's why one of my favorites as well. But Frosty, I always love the Frosty one. It's another weird tale, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
The magician, and he becomes good because Santa basically lords it over him. Like, you're good or you're gonna get coal.
Well,
But I
basically, the
still
fact
love
that Frosty is wet, he's rain. Every time he
Yes.
rains, he's there with you. Wait, what? What's going on?
A little
And
creepy.
just put out, play with this magic hat, and I'll come out and play. Wait, what?
Yeah,
And
I think with a lot of them, you can read deep into them and just find a lot of backhanded things that maybe aren't good for kids. But it's like, do you do that or you just let it be what it is? And maybe sometimes a
Right.
cigar is just a cigar. You know what I mean? Just let it
Right.
be what it is.
You
And
watch it and envision it in the time frame that it was created in more than anything else.
yes, you
Yes.
definitely have to. And that can be really tough for people, especially if you have kids. Like I have a kid now, and how do you treat it that way? You know what I mean?
Right.
We're more woke now, right? We're more awake to that kind of stuff now than we were even in the 80s, 70s, and 80s when you and I were growing up watching this stuff.
Right.
You
But
know
I
what I
think
mean?
we grew up okay. We knew not to go
Yeah.
into houses of strangers and everything, even though Sesame Street had people going into houses with strangers. I mean,
Yeah, in
let's
the
be honest.
barrio where all the Muppets lived in the barrio. Yeah, that was fantastic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
Okay, so Frosty, definitely one of my favorites. I wasn't a big fan, I never have been, of some of the fringe ones. The Baby New Year and the Heat Miser,
Yeah.
Cold Miser. Like I just, you know what I mean? Like the Santa Claus I just never, I don't know why. It's Rankin and Bass stuff, but like the stories just never stuck with me as magic as maybe because like obviously with Heat Miser, Cold Miser,
Right.
it's like good and evil. I mean, it's a lot of evil stuff happening, right?
Right.
So it seems a little less Christmassy when you're talking about these very, mean characters as a kid who's trying to like eliminate Christmas, or you know what I mean? Like I just didn't really get to it.
Or Jack Frost even, they did one for that as well, same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
They looked a little bit harsher on the design and eyes and whatnot too.
Yeah.
Great animation. Their animation got better with each one,
Oh yeah,
including the one
absolutely.
with Santa
Sure.
Claus where they told his tale.
Yeah.
I didn't need to see the origin of Santa Claus though, as a
No,
kid.
I've
That
seen
kind of
Santa
messed
Claus
with
the
me.
movie, which we'll talk about, and that's it. That's all I need to see. Once I've seen that Santa Claus the movie, I'm good. I'm good. That's my favorite, and I'll
That's
stick with
Dudley
it.
Moore, right?
Dudley Moore, Jonathan Lithgow, Tom Hiddleston, not Tom Hiddleston, Huddleston, right? He's
Yeah.
he is one of my favorite. He's my favorite Santa Claus of all time.
Oh,
He just, to
wow.
me, personified. So we'll talk about a little bit on the movie end of it, but
Yep.
he will always be my favorite Santa. Right? He just, I don't know why. His look. You know what I mean? His feel. He's just, he basically. Let's see, Santa Claus. So this is from '85. The
Yep.
actor's name was David Huddleston, who played in a lot of great stuff. He was in Blazing Saddles. I believe he was the sheriff, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
He was he's been around forever, right? He passed away in 2016 at 85. Wow. And but he had Burgess Meredith. They called him the Ancient Elf, and he was essentially Father Time. That was a great tale of, it starts off very much how Santa became to be before he was Santa, and then he gets the elves find him and Mrs. Claus essentially,
Right.
and they bring him to, because he's a toy maker, and they bring him to the elves in the house of where Santa's supposed to be, because it's a prophecy that one who has no children, can't have any children, is now going to be basically this giver of toys to children all over the world. And so
Right.
the elves, and Dudley Moore is one of the elves who basically wants to be his assistant. He's kind of a screwball. He does really well, but then he screws up. And then so he basically ostracizes himself to
Yep.
New York or Chicago. I can't remember exactly. It's kind of interchangeable. And then he meets up with Jonathan Lithgow, who's just a dirtbag toy maker, like the worst of the
I
worst.
remember that.
Right? The toy is filled with like asbestos, nails, and glass. That's fine. Ship them. They're
Yeah.
fine. You know what I mean? So no. So
And we sold them anyway.
Yeah, he sold them anyway. So he brings some of the magic dust that they give to the reindeer to make them fly. They turn it into lollipops, essentially, that make kids fly. So now he's going to take over Christmas. It's Christmas 2, right? And then, but the B story is this little boy and girl who, one of the boys homeless, the girl's rich. She's Jonathan Lithgow's niece, right?
Yep.
And she's living in his house essentially, and they meet up and get together, and they save Christmas with Santa, and they save Dudley Moore and everything like that. And that's the short Reader's Digest version of the movie.
Yep.
But it's magical. It is 100% magical. The props, the Santa's village basically is one of the most magical. It's produced, it looks real. It's not
Yes.
overproduced. Obviously, this is well before any CGI. You know what I mean? So like
Right.
any animation, any basic CGI that was done was very old school, like Star Wars, very plated, very things. So it wasn't,
Similar to like
computer
Prancer
animation.
and things like that.
Yeah, it was amazing. So like when they're making the sleigh flying, that the sparkles behind the sleigh, you can tell they're not done by computer. It was amazing work. But then you see that village with everything's colorful, and the elves are all holding their candles that all look like houses with the snow on them.
That's
Like I would
right.
give anything to have one of those. Like there was there was a ton of them in the movie. All
You
these
know,
elves are holding them. I've looked, I can't find one like on the web. If
you
anybody's
know what you
ever
do?
held one,
There's a couple of toy companies you write then and tell them you would buy these, and I bet they at least take it serious to read it. NECA or Super 7.
yeah.
Hands down, either one of those, I bet would either make
Yeah,
it
but I'm a
or
lunatic. I want one of the original ones from the movie.
oh,
I want an actual prop that screen used. God only knows what it was
searching those
worth.
movie prop auctions. That's what I do sometimes.
And I've looked. I've never seen one. Like they just had one recently, or
Yeah.
it's going on now. It's always on Facebook. They promote it. They have like a Spider-Man costume and a lot of cool stuff
Yep.
going on. And I've looked at all these. I've never ever come across one. Every time I've looked, that alone, I would love one of those candle holders.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I can only imagine how much they're expensive. So I just talked to NECA because I'm not going to buy. I'm not going to have $100,000 to spend, or even $5,000. Like God only knows what one of those would go for, because I've never seen one. So how many could possibly exist still?
Right.
This is back even in the 80s, where they didn't really necessarily save a lot because they didn't know about the interwebs, that people would be selling this stuff like crazy and hoarding all this movie memorabilia, these props, like they
or
do
reusing
today.
the prop in something else, and it's just painted over or something like that.
Yeah. So they just toss them. They just toss all that stuff, right? There's only so much, Indiana Jones warehouse space that they can hold all this stuff.
That's not what the movie showed us. At the end, they had plenty of
it was
warehouse
massive,
space.
right? It's in one of the crates somewhere. Somebody needs to go and look and find it for me.
Oh man. Well, I guess for me, like my favorite holiday films, quote unquote, I've got a couple. One that I have to watch, and I have to watch it at the beginning of November and watch it again closer to Christmas. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. It's just a staple.
I mean, that's a staple. If you don't watch that, you are a sad, lonely person if you don't watch that movie or don't like that movie. And I know I've talked to some people like, yeah, it wasn't one of my they're just sad people filled with hate.
Gotta enjoy that. I can remember way back in the day when I worked at Suncoast Motion Picture Company in Louisiana. This was before I even met you.
Suncoast. Yes,
I love Suncoast. We could play movies in the store all the time, but with this movie in particular, we had to fast forward past the scene where he's like talking about getting the Tylenol, and he's dropping the F-bomb,
because it's a long string of But
that's like one of the best parts we had to. Every so often when I was closing by myself, it didn't get fast forwarded.
Monkey shit he is. Holy shit! Where's the Tylenol?
I love that movie, but just the cat getting electrocuted underneath the chair, the squirrel in the tree.
I think he had 9 lives. He probably just spent them all.
Yeah, Eddie himself just.
Smell that? It smells like burnt pussycat. That movie has some of the most quotable movies, not just Christmas movies, but actual movie movies of any movie out there. It is Merry Christmas. Shitter was full. Like it's constant. It goes on.
There is an ornament. There was a Hallmark ornament either last year or this year of the RV itself. Of his RV.
Yeah, I have one. I don't. Was it last year? Because this year is Clark holding the ball of lights. He's gonna hand it to he's gonna hand it to him. That's one of the ones I bought. I bought that one. I bought the Michael Scott Office one. I got the Sheldon in the Flash outfit, and I bought a Curious George one for my son. I've started.
Now here's your trivia.
And I got 3 of the pop ornaments: the Michael Scott, Dwight, and Deadpool of the pop ornaments at Walmart. Yeah.
Here's your Christmas trivia. What actor from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation would know Sheldon in the show?
Oh, Jonathan Galecki.
Yeah, exactly. It's so weird to watch that movie still to this day, and he's so little.
He's so young. Yeah, Johnny Galecki.
Lewis as a sister.
He played Rusty. And it's weird, like every movie has had a different Rusty and Audrey.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, everyone's been different. And they've played with their ages a little bit. Who was younger, who was older.
Right.
Because in the original series, Rusty was older.
Yeah,
in both the original and European Vacation.
Yep.
Right? And then Vegas, I think she's older in Vegas. And she's definitely older in Christmas Vacation.
Yep. I just love how the movie even opens with them going to get the Christmas tree, and they get stuck underneath the log truck
Yeah.
because he's
She's
such
trying to do this on purpose.
he's a dick driver. He's a dick
he's
driver
a
on top of
bad
it.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh my god. So that's like my absolute favorite, has to be watched. But then closer to Christmas, I have to watch Elf. Like
Yes.
that might be the mainstay. And that was like a surprise one for me because I didn't watch it until maybe 3-4 years ago for the first time. I missed it when
Really?
it first
Oh,
came
I saw
out.
that when it came out. I think I went to the theaters to see that when it came
Yeah.
out.
And it just, I'm like, oh my god, why haven't I watched this before? It's just
So,
so
a bit of trivia on that one. I just read he turned down $29 million
Yes.
to
For a
do Elf
second one.
2 because the script was that bad.
Right.
He's like,
And
it's
sadly,
not
they
worth
wouldn't
it.
be able to have
It's
the same
not
Santa
worth it.
Claus.
Is it 26 or 29, somewhere below $30 million, right below $30 million to
Yeah.
do Elf 2, and he turned it down. The script was that bad.
Yeah.
Like that
And
must have been
you know what?
a shitty movie if he turned it down for that kind of money.
He's got to trust that noggin of his on that. And
Yeah.
sadly, we wouldn't have the same Santa Claus because Ed Asner was Santa Claus in that.
There is that.
And he was a great Santa Claus.
He was a
Also,
good Santa Claus.
it has one of my favorite comedians of all time.
He was a good Santa Claus.
He was good. And it has one of my favorite comedians of all time as like the head elf, Bob Newhart.
Yeah, Bob Newhart. He was great. Papa Elf. And Ralphie Parker.
That's
one
right.
of the elves. Ralphie's one. He's you're not a cotton henny ninny muggins.
Yes,
that's Ralphie
and then of
Parker.
course that leads right into one of my favorite movies, the absolute all-time favorite Christmas movie, absolute all-time. And
Christmas
I'm blanking
Story
on the name. Yeah, Christmas Story.
I mean, how can you not love A Christmas Story? It's you have to because it's played for loops. I mean, they do it. What do they do?
24
twice?
hours on TBS
24
and
hours,
TNT.
Yeah, they both do it. Two channels are doing it at the same time. They're running.
Yep.
And obviously they don't mark them exactly at the same time, so they're offset on each other. Right. But yeah, I mean, it's a 24-hour loop. I mean, God bless them. I love that. And I watch as much of that 24 hours as possible.
When that first happened, like the first year or two that was starting, our friend Fred, who worked with me at FAO Schwartz, he was trying to go home that Christmas for the holidays, and he couldn't. He got snowed out. He couldn't fly from Boston to Illinois. So we offered, hey, you know what? Come on over, spend Christmas Eve with us. And for like 5 hours into Christmas Eve, he and I just sat up and watched the movie like 2.5 times straight.
You can't help it. It's one of the best.
Every year on Christmas Eve, I call him and say,
based on a book which I have.
On? Yeah. Like, Fred, do you know what's on right now? Yes, A Christmas Story. We're watching it right now. Like, that's exactly what we do. That's our tradition every year to talk on the phone at least a little bit.
While you watch the movie. I mean, how great is that? How great is that? The
it
book
really
is
all
very
about...
different. The book itself is it's called In God We Trust, All Others Pay Cash. Was the original book. Yeah, I have it. It's an original book that the movie was based off of. So it's kind of like, it's almost like the Christmas Story movie is part of the book.
Okay.
Like it's a small section of the book. Kind of like The Running Man was part of like Richard Bachman's, like he did like a not Running Man, Stand By Me was part of like a 4 short story book that he did.
Yeah.
They made a whole movie out of just one of the sections of that book. Kind of the same idea. So the book is very different than the movie. But I read it anyway, just because, like, what the hell? I love A Christmas Story so much. I'm going to read the book about it, which I often do anyway.
And you can go visit the house that the movie was shot at, like the exterior, and they have a museum in the house now.
Like that. And they sell stuff out of it. Like the guys, like those guys who bought it, like preserve the hell out of it. They basically made it a museum.
That was a smart move on their part because that house will now make money for them for the rest of their lives.
Yep, absolutely. Then when are they ever going to stop rerunning that thing 24 hours a day?
No. And
until
every year I want to
shut it down because something pisses people off and rubs somebody the wrong way, and because they don't like the treatment of the dogs or something. Who knows?
You know what? It's a heartfelt film, and it was set in a different time. You got to watch it in the time frame it was not only released, but the time that the movie is set in as well. Little Orphan Annie with the decoder ring, and it's really just an advertisement for Ovaltine.
Commercial, son of a bitch.
No, my personal favorite's when he's beating up Scott Fergus. He's like,
he's swearing, but you don't hear the swearing. It's all mumbled, frassen. Yeah, because they don't want to actually swear in the movie. Another classic quotable movie. I wonder which one has more quotes. You can probably look it up. Which one has more quotes? Christmas Vacation or Christmas Story? Like, which one is more quotable? I want to say Christmas Vacation simply because it's meant to be a comedy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like a straight up comedy. You know what I mean? So
Christmas Story, I think, has the most used one of all time, and that would be fudge.
Yes.
Only I didn't say fudge.
Yeah, that is one of my football. What's a football? That's one of my. I think I just said that to some of the students at the school too. We were going
And he was
over
like,
that.
what is that? I don't understand that.
So there's your list. So I have a list too. So my wife and I watch the same movies multiple times during the season. Like we'll start probably now, like we're almost just about to start. Even before, like once Halloween passes, we're like, all right, Halloween's passed. Thanksgiving's just an eating holiday. So we go from a candy holiday to a stuff your gullet holiday to a cookies and snack holiday to a drunken holiday. It's the season. It's the season of binging and overeating. So we start like right after Halloween, we start on our Christmas stuff. We start, decorating a bit. She won't let me put the tree up until after Thanksgiving because we have Thanksgiving in our apartment. And it just takes up space, and we have a lot of people that come over. So it takes, I as far as I'm concerned, so people can eat on the balcony. Because I want the tree up, but that's just me. Okay, so it's the day after Thanksgiving. Believe me, I'm getting the stuff out of storage, and we're going for it. Plus, with all the new ornaments, and with my son, who's now 15 months, he's going to love it. He's going to
remember it this time.
Yeah, I think so. He'll remember some of it. So, it is definitely the best time of year for me. It's my favorite time of year. So we watch the same movies over again. So we watch Elf on repeat. We watch Christmas Vacation, Christmas Story. Definitely, and not as much because it plays 24 hours.
There,
have to. However, we do watch the Jim Carrey Grinch.
That's not a bad one. It's not one I watch all the time, but
one of those movies that grew on me. It kind of like Cable Guy.
Yeah.
Another Jim Carrey movie that like started out kind of dark, kind of weird, and then like, if you really, really watch it and study it, it's genius. There's some genius parts in it. They're like, oh my God, this is like a really weird character development of this really psychotic, dark character. That if you really get into it and move past the fact that, Jim Carrey, who was, Ace Ventura talking out his butt, now he's like this guy who's a psychotic stalking this dude. You know what I mean? Like once you get past that part of it, it's genius. It's a wonderful movie. So Christmas, the Grinch, directed by I can never remember, Richie from Happy Days. There's some parts in that movie that are just, I love the scenery. I love the way they made the costuming, the sets are incredible. It has one of my favorite.
Real.
They do, right? They made that face with the way their nose, their mouths come out to their nose, button. They made it look really well done. Like, the makeup and everything is incredible in that movie. The songs, the way they adapted the story, you get him as a child and all that. But one of my favorite scenes in that whole movie is a throwaway improv scene when he was talking to himself, right, about whether he's going to go down or not, and he's at the table and he pulls the tablecloth off the table. And everything's supposed to go over, but it doesn't.
He did it absolutely right.
He messes it up on purpose. So that was improv. And then when he walks away and flips it behind him to flip over the table, I crack up every time. It's just this weird little improv scene where he just comes back and smashes everything off, and just like this last little FU on the way out, he flips the table behind him.
Well, and let's be honest, you have nobody else that could have played the Grinch live action than him.
No, absolutely. I mean, sure, at some point, like anything, they'll try again. Hopefully they don't, but like most things, another 10 years, whatever, people forget about that movie, they'll try it again, right?
Nobody has the facial movement that can move that makeup like he could, though.
No, absolutely not.
No,
that rubber face of his, absolutely not. I mean, they almost didn't need the prosthetics, right? He has that rubber face, you know what I mean? So that worked. That was, to me, was just comedy genius. So that's on our rewatch list. So, you got your Elf, you got your Grinch, you got your Christmas Vacation, you got, it's Santa Claus, the movie. I'll watch. Amy likes it. It's not her like all-time favorite because she didn't grow up with it like I did.
Right.
So that's the one like separation with my wife and I. We're like in so many ways, but our movie history, she loves movies. She knows more music than I do. We've discussed this on the podcast before, but she knows music. I know movies. I grew up with movies. I've discussed with her at length. I've watched a lot of movies that I probably wasn't supposed to watch when I was 8 years old. This is a Christmas movie, so it didn't matter. But I definitely watched more TV and movies than she did growing up. So I know a lot of the stuff, even though we're not that different in age. We're only 3 years apart, essentially. So it's not that different of like time frame. We would have been watching the same stuff. We're not a different generation. So, but she just didn't watch for whatever reason. She just didn't watch that stuff. So I have a lot of movie references. I'm like, oh, remember this line? She's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm like, what are you talking about? We're not that different in ages. Like, how did you not see this? How is this not part of your normal? You know what I mean? In your brain.
So what you're saying is you're going to be the better parent because you're going to introduce your son to all these things.
No. I'll be the disruptive one. I'll be the
Okay,
one who's
good.
like, yeah, I'll be the one who's just getting him like, hey, let's watch this movie. And she'll be the one who's like working on his math homework and things like that.
Yep.
And I'll be like, oh, take a break from that. Let's go watch this awesome movie. Or, look, read this cool comic. Let's go to the comic book store. Are you done with that math homework yet? Let's go to the comic book store. That'll
Oh
be
my
me,
God.
and then she'll be yelling at me in private. So yeah, that's definitely the way that's going to go down. I already know that, and I've leaned into it. And I'm okay with that. I've made my peace. So yeah. That's definitely one of my that's my list of movies.
Yeah,
Of course, we talked about
I'd
the TV
say, yeah, I'd say my list is definitely, A Christmas Story up there. Then it's going to be Elf. Then it's going to be National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. A couple others are like A Muppet Christmas Carol. I love that one because it just
Mhm.
makes me look at Scrooge in a whole new way, and the fact that it's
Yeah,
Muppet. Let's be honest.
I'll watch it. I don't
Um,
watch it on repeat, but I will watch it.
yeah, and then Bill Murray and Scrooged. I
Oh, let's
love
talk
that
about
movie.
Scrooge. What a crazy, wonderful,
Yep.
weird, you know what I mean? But the comedy in it, again, very quotable. You know what I mean? Just
All
like,
I know is I love like all the different stuff they do with the TV
let's
studio and
be
everything. The
honest,
way
you
he
paid for
inspires.
the women.
Yeah, the Bobcat Goldthwait stuff, but watching the shows that they have just in the background, I wanna see
Yes,
some of those,
fake
including I think it was
shows.
Chuck Norris Saves Christmas or something like that. I wanna
No,
see that.
it was the Fall Guy.
That's right, Lee Majors.
Lee
That's
Majors
right.
saves Chris. Right, it was Lee Majors.
Like, I wanna see those shows actually be
Yes.
get made, like,
Yeah, they
not
have
just
some
little throwaway
great,
things.
really screwed up shows that you wanna see on
Right.
IBS. I actually have the IBS T-shirt.
Oh my god, that's great.
So there's a company, give them a free plug here, called Moonshot. It's M00N
Okay.
shot, and they make T-shirts, right? They're unlicensed, but they make like everything. Like I have a double, the double deuce T-shirt from
Uh, um,
no, what do you call it?
a
Roadhouse.
Roadhouse,
I have the Roadhouse T-shirt. I have the Miyagi, you know, Miyagi
Dojo.
Turbo, the turbo bike repairs. I have like
Yep.
it's like all these weird, like they make a lot of them like as if it was an actual company in the
Right.
show, and now this is like a company T-shirt, if you will, with like a company. They made up a logo for it. They have they have these shirts, and that's one of the one they have the IBS
Oh my
shirt.
god,
They
that's
have a
awesome.
Cafe Nervosa shirt. They have a Central Park shirt. They have I literally have the Goldie Wilson for Mayor
Yes.
T-shirt from Back to the
Back to the
Future.
Future too. Yes.
I do. I
That
have that one. You know what I
that
mean?
is
So like,
awesome.
I have a crazy amount of these T-shirts. I have the Cobra Kai body bags. Get your body. Been
Yep.
selling. Sweeping the leg since 19. Like, it's fantastic, but it looks like they're selling you body bags. It's
Right.
hysterical. Like I have a ton of these T-shirts. I have the
That's great.
IBS one. I have the Boyd Aviation from Fletch.
That's
Everybody
awesome.
the guy's name was Boyd Aviation. I
Yep.
have the Duke and Duke shirt from Trading Places. A great Christmas movie.
See, that
Trading
is great
Places is
stuff.
another great Christmas movie.
That is a Christmas movie.
In I was just telling you, I bought 17 new pop figures at the store yesterday. The Trading Places pops were one of I bought the entire set with the exception of Eddie Murphy when he was homeless. I already have that one. When
Right.
he's on the cart pretending he had
Yep.
no legs. I have that one already. I bought the rest of them.
Okay.
It's
So,
fantastic.
I have a question, and this can be our final thing about movies. I have to
No,
ask.
yes, it is a Christmas movie. I don't care
Die
what you
Hard?
say. Die Hard is a Christmas
Yes.
movie.
Agree,
Die Hard
yes,
is,
I
yeah, I knew you
completely
were going
agree.
on that one, and we had not pre-discussed this. Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I
Hands
don't care
down.
what people say. Yes, it's a wonderful action film. It's a wonderful Christmas action film.
Yes. I
The
mean,
whole
it's
thing
set
is
right
centered
in
around
between Christmas and New Year's. It's like right there. It's a
Yeah.
Christmas movie.
It's a
It is a
Christmas
Christmas
movie.
movie. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a Christmas
Somebody
party, right? It's
Yeah.
their Christmas party.
Right. So it's
That's
like
the
right
whole
there.
point, right? They're celebrating. I have that sweatshirt.
Oh,
I
the
have the
ho ho ho.
Nakatomi. Survived this
I
Christmas party in Nakatomi. Yeah, again, Moonshot. They have a couple different versions, but yeah.
I've seen one
Yeah,
that of the bloody sweatshirt that says, "Now I
yeah,
have a
ho, ho,
machine gun too. Ho ho ho."
yeah. I didn't get him. I got the Hans Gruber pop yesterday, but I didn't get him. They have him on the chair, bloody
Oh god,
sweatshirt
that's
on.
great.
Yeah, they had him, and they had Al Powell as well. I didn't get Al either.
Yep.
You
Depending
got
on
to draw the
timing
line
and everything,
somewhere.
I end up watching Die Hard at least once sometime between now
Yep.
and New Year's, just
Yep.
because you kinda have to.
It's a
And
Christmas movie.
Die Hard 2 is not
I'm
bad
sure we'll
either,
catch a
but
lot of flack from that. I don't care. It's a Christmas movie. Get over
it is a
yourselves.
Christmas movie,
I don't
hands
care.
down.
It was the writer, director, or somebody said, no, it's not. Bullshit. It's a Christmas
No,
movie.
does it have Christmas trees in it? Yes. Does it have Christmas lights in it? Does it
The
have Christmas
whole
songs in
story
it?
centers around Christmas. That's why they're
Christmas.
all there. It's a Christmas
Yes.
party. It's a
Christmas
Christmas
movie.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay.
So does that mean Batman Returns is a Christmas movie?
Yes.
The original 89 Batman. Well, no, 92 or 92, 94, whenever it's like.
Yeah, 91 maybe, but yeah, it's a Christmas
Yeah.
movie because it's set during Christmas time. They're
The
candy
whole movie
canes
set
and
around
everything.
Christmas time.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
That
absolutely.
makes sense. It's a Christmas movie. I don't know if
Um,
we're playing fast and loose with our definition and our requirements for it to be a Christmas movie, but I don't care.
no, it has to. It can have guns and machines. I mean, they made horror films based on Christmas movies. Silent Night is where Santa goes around killing people. Somebody dressed as Santa.
Right.
And as we're talking, it's now almost Halloween. It's a Halloween movie too, so it works perfectly. And then there's
That's right.
Nightmare Before Christmas. Let's not even forget that.
Yeah. Nightmare Before
know?
Christmas. Are you a fan?
I am a fan of the movie. It's
Yeah.
quirky, it's weird, so I love it.
Yeah.
But it's an acquired taste. Not
It's
everybody.
definitely acquired taste, and I have not acquired the taste for it.
Yeah, it's
I've
definitely.
watched it many times, all the way through. I
Yep.
will watch it. It's not a movie like I hate and will never watch or watch again.
Right.
If somebody wants to watch it, I will watch it with them. But it's not one that I will put on myself just voluntarily. Like, hey, let's go watch this movie.
Exactly. It's one that I will, again, if I think about it, but I do love the movie itself. I love the fact that it's such fluid stop motion animation. I love the story. I love the songs in it.
Tim
But
Burton
it's
magic
definitely
right there.
a look. Like it's Corpse Bride. It's one that I've watched, but I don't need to go back and rewatch necessarily.
Right.
Nightmare Before Christmas, I will rewatch. Do I need any merchandise from it? Not really. I've seen a lot of great toys and
That's
stuff
not
from it.
coming from Mike.
Yeah, I know. But it's a really great movie itself, but not one I have to watch necessarily.
Right.
And the
Yep.
fact that it's not a Tim Burton film, it's just produced by Tim Burton.
Right.
Let's make sure people understand that.
Yep.
So
Corpse Bride, was that a Tim Burton movie?
that was a Tim Burton film. Yep.
He
That
directed
was
that
one
one.
that I can't remember if he
Who
directed it, but it was like
Nightmare
another.
Before Christmas?
Yeah, Nightmare Before Christmas he produced more than anything, but they call it Tim Burton's. Like no,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
no. There's a great thing on.
He's gonna
Wikipedia
attach the name on it to make it better.
Yep.
Yeah,
So yeah, I was thinking about also the fact that there's a lot of great TV specials from back in the day, and we mentioned the Cheers episode, of course, for Thanksgiving that has the food fight at in the end of it and everything.
Yeah.
And there's one part that I love watching. I don't know how many times you've seen this episode, but it's when they're all showing up at Carla's house for Thanksgiving, and they start talking about how they get from the bar to Carla's house, and they're talking about going on Route 128, talking about the blue, all the different roads in Boston itself.
Right.
I would look
So
for the sign here, and I'm like,
yeah.
and it's all absolutely right if you're going to Carla's house.
Yep.
Like they did their research.
Yeah, they definitely did the research. Somebody went to Boston and researched and drove the road. I mean, at that time, they would have had to, right? They probably would have had to come out here. I'm in Boston. They would have to come out here and drive it.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe looked at a map, but there was no Google Maps to research.
There's no Google Maps.
So you would have had to either look at a road map, buy a road map of Boston, which is certainly feasible, or come out here and actually do it.
Yep.
If you're going to catch landmarks and things like that, you can't look at a road map. It'll tell you the streets. It won't show you the Sitco station or, you know what I mean? The Sitco sign. It won't tell you stuff like that you can use as landmarks.
Exactly. And then they have the big food fight at the end, which I absolutely love. Like that is just hands down. And that went on apparently when they were filming it for like 30 minutes.
Oh, really?
Like, they just let them go.
That's awesome.
And it was like real food, and they were tossing it left and right. It was getting into the audience. Like that's what you want to hear. That's just a great episode for Thanksgiving itself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was definitely one of my favorites. My favorite Cheers episodes. Frasier had a lot of good Christmas episodes. What was is that your favorite all-time holiday? What's like your favorite all-time holiday episode from a TV
favorite
show?
holiday episode? Honestly, I think it's one that we were talking about just before the show. It's WKRP in Cincinnati, and it's the turkey drop. It's where they do a radio station promotion to promote the radio stations from the first season, and they have Les Nessman, their little news guy, out in the street, and they're saying, we're going to fly overhead with a helicopter with the station's ID behind it, and we're going to drop, we're going to do something as a big promotion. What are they dropping? They're dropping turkeys for all the people that have gathered. And it's not turkeys with parachutes. It's not like
they're just frozen turkeys.
They're just live turkeys.
Oh, they're live turkeys. Okay.
They're live
Either
turkeys.
way, it's going to kill somebody because turkeys aren't going to fly down. They're going to drop down.
That's the whole joke. They keep plopping down on cars and splatting, hitting things.
Yeah.
And this is like, and they're dropping something out of the helicopter now. Oh, look, it's a turkey. Oh, wow. Oh, no.
It just hits and explodes. Yes. It doesn't fly. It can't float down. It's just going to fall like a rock and splat. So if it was frozen, they would have killed people. When it was live, they're just killing the turkeys and you can't use them because they're just exploding as they hit.
And that's the big joke at the end of the episode. The station owner is like, As
Oh,
God
well,
is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly because everybody's calling into the station complaining about what's happening, and
yeah.
animal rights activists and everything. I'm like, this is the greatest thing
Yes.
ever. Like, you
Yes.
can't mimic that humor anymore on TV or anything. It's already been done. You can't get any better than that.
Yep.
And it was through the power of radio. Like, you're watching him do this thing, but they didn't even show any of the turkeys dropping. They're showing him and the people at the radio station listening. That's it. 2 sets. You didn't need anything more than that. It was
All they
all an
need.
audio thing, and it just worked.
Yes. Without a doubt. Yeah, there's so many great Christmas episodes. I'm a huge Big Bang Theory fan. So, which
Yes.
people know. So when they did the first one, it was sort of before the whole cast was rounded out. So it was mostly centered on the originals, the original 5, if you will.
Right.
And Penny gets Sheldon a gift, and he does not like gift giving. He doesn't like Christmas either because it's just a Saturnalia. It's a Saturnalia miracle, as they call it.
Yes.
He has the whole spiel on Christmas and why you shouldn't celebrate it. And he doesn't like gift giving. He doesn't like the reciprocity because he's expected to give a gift. So he goes out and buys like a ton of stuff from Bed Bath and Beyond. No, from Body Works, right?
Right.
From those places.
The different
Buys, like,
basket
a gift
sizes.
basket at different ranges, depending on what she's going to give him. He's going to respond with something equal value. And then she gives him a napkin from the Cheesecake Factory that Leonard Nimoy basically wiped his mouth on, and he absolutely freaks out. He's like,
Yes.
I have the DNA of Leonard Nimoy. I could, with the healthy ovum, I could make my own Leonard Nimoy. She's like, I'm just giving you the napkin. That's all I'm giving you. And he goes and hugs her. He gives her all the baskets. He's like, it's not enough. He gives her every basket as a gift. And then he hugs her, and she looks at Leonard and goes, he's hugging me. And Leonard goes, it's a Saturnalia miracle.
Yes.
That is his performance when she hands him that and he reads it and his mouth starts bubbling.
Yes.
You can see he's like half crying, half like can't believe it, like freaking out.
Beautiful.
Is gorgeous performance. I mean, like that was like, I think he won the Emmy that year, and for that episode alone, he should have won the Emmy. I always had like he definitely deserved a lot of the Emmys. I always thought like Steve Carell should have won some too, especially the last year he was on The Office and he didn't win it. I thought that was a little bit of an injustice, but whatever. He got some Golden Globes and stuff.
Yeah.
But still, but that performance of that Christmas episode is one of my all-time favorites, even though it's a newer show,
right?
Quote unquote newer show.
No, it's still a classic, and it's already classic. It's one you look for in the repeats if you're watching like weekdays or whatever. Or you're looking for it on.
And I watch it on. They have it on HBO Max. They have the entire series on HBO Max. So it's one of like my sleeper shows. I go to sleep watching it because I've seen every episode like 100 times, so I could just go to sleep. I don't have to pay attention to it. But I'll stay awake for that episode, especially for that one scene when he starts to bubble. It's just one of my favorites. So
oh my god.
So okay, so just doubling back real quick, just so we have things right. Nightmare Before Christmas is actually directed by Henry Selick.
Yes.
And Tim Burton was one of the writers. He did story and characters and things like that. So a few different writers, stuff like that. So there you go. All right.
Yeah.
So other shows that we kind of skipped past. Here's one of my favorites. Tell me if you remember it. This one, Amy, again, did not know what the hell I was talking about. Yogi's First Christmas.
I vaguely remember it, but I can't tell you anything about it. You know what I mean? I know I've seen it.
To the lodge, which is basically going to be closed because Miss Throckmorton thinks it's not worth keeping, so they have to make it this big affair to prove to her that the lodge is worth and keep doing the Christmas season. And then Snively, her little prick of a nephew, is with her, and he of course is causing a bunch of problems with essentially their version of the Grinch, a little troll guy who hates Christmas.
Yes, yes,
bushy beard, and they're trying, and then of course they turn over at the end of the day. They have to rescue them, and Yogi, who's supposed to be hibernating, wakes up, and of course now he's causing problems. So but he ends up saving the day to save Christmas and save Snively, and of course then she, Miss Throckmorton, he saves Christmas by saving them. So she's like, okay, we're gonna keep the lodge going, and that is still one of my all-time favorite Christmas movies. Let's see if I can. I don't know if I can pull up. Is this the original song? Let's see. Hold on. Let's see if I can find the original. Let's see. There we go. Let's bring back any memories.
Yes. That's right.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite Christmas specials. Not played very often anymore.
No, you might see it on like Cartoon Network or Boomerang or
Yeah,
something, but
it's
that's
from
it.
1980.
Yep.
It's a long one too. It's like 2 hours. It's a full on movie, right? The
That's
Apple
just
runtime is an hour and 39 minutes. So I'd
that's just
imagine with
crazy.
commercials and stuff like that, it would have been around a 2-hour special.
Right.
Maybe that's why one of the reasons they don't play it that often, right? Because they're going to use the airtime and taking up 2 hours for one thing. And it's from
Right.
the 80s. It's not like one of the most well-known, widely popular, right?
No.
But that one I will watch. And that's the one I'll watch personally. I don't generally get Amy to watch it with me.
Right.
But I will watch it myself because I do enjoy Yogi's First Christmas. So if you ever get the chance, I'm talking to everybody now, watch Yogi's First Christmas. I can't guarantee it's going to, do anything
Right.
for you because I watched it in the 80s when it was out. So it has that nostalgia for me too. You know what I mean? To watch that movie is just one of my special
Well,
parts of Christmas that I
Here's
love.
one. I had to look it up just to make sure I was right. There was one I remembered as a kid. It was from the original series of cartoons for the show itself, of Flintstones Christmas.
Okay.
It's an episode of where Fred is doing extra work as Santa Claus at Macy Rock.
Macy Rock, sure. Sure.
And elves come to him to ask his help to save Christmas. Now, here's the thing. I remember the episode pretty well. It was fun and all. But as an adult, I think about the fact that you've got Christmas during the Flintstones.
Yeah.
But the Flintstones are set before Jesus being born.
Yep. Little continuity problem there.
Yeah.
Little timeline problem going on there, yeah.
You're like, wait a second. How does that work?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the Flintstones, right? So you kind of you suspend the disbelief because the entire show was they're using technology, but made it turn back into Stone Age time, but like record players and phones,
exactly
and things like that.
I just remember that vividly, and now thinking back as an adult, and I've seen it a handful of times as an adult. I'm like, every time I watch this, I think to myself, why is it happening now? That's so weird, but I go with the flow.
Let's face it. I mean, I think especially in this country, but in a lot of parts of the world, but we're more commercial than most other countries. We've done a lot to get Jesus out of Christmas.
Right. Exactly.
We've worked really hard to strip away Jesus out of Christmas. I mean, let's just face it. You know what I mean? It's more about the commercialness of it and that kind of thing. So
yeah, I guess we'd be remiss about talking about about Christmas movies and everything without mentioning the Hallmark Channel at least once.
We have to talk about that. There's some really great movies. They're obviously very cookie cutter. She meets the guy, they meet the family, that things. And yeah, I mean, I've definitely enjoyed a few of them. There is one I watch. I will watch a few times. I do enjoy it. See, I'm trying to find it here. I know I have it. I'm pretty sure I have it in my Apple iTunes, where my movies. I love Mickey's Christmas Carol, by the way. Just gonna throw that out.
Oh
there.
yes,
that's one of my favorite cartoons.
I do have one favorite Hallmark one too that I will admit every time it's on, I stop and I watch it, no matter where it's at in the movie itself. But I want to see if it's the same one.
Oh, okay. So you want me to go first? All right, that's fine. I can do that. Let's see. I'd be surprised if it was, to be honest with you. It's the Christmas in the City.
No. But now who's in that one? Because they have like a stable of actors they use too.
This one's a little different. It's Ashanti.
Okay.
Ashley Williams, John Prescott. So Ashley Williams you might know her more from How I Met Your Mother.
Yes.
She was his girlfriend for a while there.
Yep.
She has this giant smile, like her ear from like ear to ear, like this. She's really pretty actress. Really talented. So she plays the mom, and it's a cookie cutter. Her dad's, candy store is, he's gone. It's gonna close. It's gonna get foreclosed on. To raise money, so she goes to the city and works for a giant, Sears type store.
Yep.
Who's also kind of on the outs, and the old guy who runs it, the corporate wants them to bring in somebody to modernize the store. And Ashanti comes in, and she's like, one of those corporate, like, headhunter type people who's going to, remake the whole store. But she makes everything horrible.
Right.
Everything's modern. It's like half naked guys and little G strings handing out cookies. You know what I mean? They're like doing everything they can to strip away Christmas and make it this, awesome, cool, funky, Chris. So, but everybody just wants
and it doesn't
type of Christmas stuff. So, Ashley Williams and that guy John Pratt, they basically work together, band together, and get rid of her, and they make it a great Christmas. And then
And of
she
course,
gets
the
money,
formula always follows. They don't kiss or anything until the last at least 2 minutes of the movie.
there's that relationship starting. You could see they want to be with each other, but she works for him because he helps run the store. He's like the vice president. So, they have a little sweet moment where they're singing Noel together at the piano when the store's closed. And of course, nobody's watching except for the old guy and Ashanti, who's now getting more pissed off that they're getting together. It's a very cookie cutter stuff, but just a fun movie. It's Christmas in the City from 2014.
See, now mine comes from 2014 as well, actually, and it stars one of my favorite. I know, it's a good year. I think it's when they first started to do like 20 of them at one time or whatever. 20 brand new ones. Now they have like 400 they can just cycle through it, one a day or whatever. This one actually has a Superman, Brandon Routh in it. Brandon Routh.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 9 Lives of Christmas.
Okay.
And it's about a guy who's dating a very vapid supermodel who doesn't care about anything but herself, really. He's a firefighter on top of it all. Of course he is, because he's Brandon Routh. It has Michael Patrick in it, the original Terminator 1000 in it as his like boss at the firehouse. And he ends up meeting this girl who is a cat lover, who is one who's works at a pet store and things like that. And she has her own cat that she's trying to keep secret from her landlord and whatnot. He's building a house so he can sell it, and a stray cat he saves. So the two cats end up becoming friends. They start to become friends throughout the movie, and they figure out that they like each other, but things happen. So they have their little tiff, then they kind of get back together as talking more, and they have another little tiff. And at the end, he comes to save her in a way that they talked about at one point by bringing the fire truck, and he comes to rescue her and running. And it's so corny, the whole 9 yards of it, but it works perfectly. And it's Brandon Routh and this like really cute, sweet fireman acting role.
Hallmark, if I'm not mistaken, Hallmark is Dutch for corny.
Yeah, I think so too.
Corny or sappy.
It's got Brandon Routh. Kimberly Sutton is the his love interest, and she's really cute. She's like one of those Hallmark mainstays as well. And the final shot after they've had their quick kiss at the last 2-minute mark or whatever is the two cats on the dashboard of the fire truck. That's it. That's how it ends. Sorry, spoiler alert.
That's okay.
But every time I see it on, I stop. Yeah, I stop and I watch it because it's just so syrupy perfect.
Yeah,
it is exactly what you want it to be. So that's my favorite Hallmark movie of Christmas.
All right, let's talk about A Christmas Carol. Tell me this one. I have it on my iTunes, but I don't watch it. It's the A Christmas Carol with Jim Carrey. Love me some Jim Carrey. It's a weird movie.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's not necessarily something you have to go race to see.
Yeah,
it's done in that animation style that they've done before, kind of like almost Polar Express, almost like that meets Lemony Snicket. Like it's
right.
like it's really weird. The animation on it's kind of strange. You know what I mean? Like they did a lot of retro on his face.
Right. And they did it like they mapped his face while he was acting and everything too.
Yeah. And then animated over it. So I don't know. It's strange. It's kind of off-putting. The story's not, it's a little weird. In A Christmas Story,
right.
Christmas Carol is a weird story anyway, but like they it's Jim Carrey, so they're going to take it to the next level. And they did.
Yeah.
On them. Congratulations. You did. You took it to the next level. It's just weird.
As I recall, though, too, from the trailers and everything, the one thing that off-put me from it was kind of like what Polar Express, and I've never watched that either.
Yeah,
is
not a big fan.
The dead eyes. They don't have the CGI eyes quite right for a realistic-looking character.
Yes.
Like, you don't need that necessarily like in Toy Story or something like that, or in like Cars or anything. Those work well with what they've got. But if you're trying to do an actual human-looking face, the eyes need to have a little bit, and I'm not talking like your eyebrows.
That's why human stuff is hard, right? Because we're so trained to look and see a human's face, and hands are really tough. But which is why most animation they only have 4 fingers, 3 fingers, and a thumb, because hands are really tough to replicate. But the face is super hard because and it's getting better. But even like Rogue One when they did Princess Leia.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like that was still obviously off because we are so trained to notice all the nuances of a human face to stare at all day. So when it's not pitch perfect, you can really tell. It's really
like they had extensively more of Grand Moff Tarkin in there, and while really great, it's still when they did actual close-ups, it wasn't quite right
Yep.
in
Yeah, it
Rogue One,
still looks a little
and
off.
that's what those trailers for those two movies, Polar Express and A Christmas Carol with Jim Carrey, just didn't do it for me. I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't need to see these necessarily, not
And
necessarily
I
because they're a
think
bad
sometime in the
film,
future they'll
right?
get there. Like the technology will keep advancing. You know what I
Right,
mean? Like obviously the threat is will they be able to replace actual people?
right.
You know what I mean? And not pay actors so much money, just make them CG. We don't need you here anymore. We just have a digital imprint of your face, and we can just take it from here.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
but like right now, that's not happening because it's still not quite ready to
We don't
replace.
need A Christmas Story 2. Ralphie has a machine gun. We don't need
Yeah,
that with
there
like
is a
digital
Christmas
Ralphie.
Story too. There is a Christmas Story too, and it's
I
horrific.
know. I don't count it. I
I
just don't
don't
count
count
it.
it either. It's like it's they did Christmas Vacation too, with
Yeah.
Senator on Eddie. I won't watch that
No.
one either. They did another one with Ed Helms. They did another vacation movie because he's Rusty grown up.
Right.
You saw that one? I love Ed Helms. I think he's a great. I could care less for that movie. Like it just doesn't work for me. You know what I mean? Like at some point, obviously, when Chevy Chase isn't doing them anymore, which he's pretty much settled, he's not going to do them anymore. You know,
Right.
it's like, yeah, just don't bother. Like they are what they are. They're a certain segment that we've had them, and yeah, if you want to reboot them eventually, fine. It's just not going to be for me. It'll be for
No,
people who didn't grow up watching the originals.
it is funny to watch. Again, we're doing this right before Halloween. The movie Halloween Kills is out right now, and you have Anthony Michael Hall playing one of the kid characters from that first film.
That's right.
And it's, evil dies tonight, his big line. And there are a lot of memes now of Rusty from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, and it's him saying it. Evil dies tonight. I'm like, yes, that's what I want to see.
Yes.
That's my Rusty right there.
Yeah.
Nothing against John Galecki. I love him in the Christmas one. He's my Christmas Vacation.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
He did great. He did great. And he was a great Rusty for that particular one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know that the other ones could have necessarily pulled it off. You know what I mean?
No. I think we have a good list here of what people need to watch, and then we have to mention the penultimate Christmas special, of course, that everybody watches, and that's the Peanuts one.
Yes,
if
that's
you don't
why
watch that one,
at the end, because Peanuts has a few, right? Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown should be watched tonight
right
or
now.
tomorrow,
Yep.
right? Because it's Halloween, got to watch Great Pumpkin, and you got to watch the Thanksgiving one's good. I will watch the Thanksgiving one. It's the third on my list.
Yes.
Of the holiday ones, right? Christmas is number 1, Halloween, Pumpkin's number 2, Thanksgiving's number 3. But that Christmas one, that Christmas one is something. It is magical. It's always
above. Like, I don't even count it as like a number 1 Christmas special. It's just a great special on its own. It doesn't have to be set just in Christmas. You can watch it any time of year and be taken back to that moment in your life when you saw it for the first time.
Yes.
You know,
agreed. I mean, there's no doubt about it, right? I don't know how you don't watch that. And I think some people, Garfield has a special too, which is really weird. It's there. There's something about it, but like Christmas, it's hard to put the finger on. The Charlie Brown Christmas is so unique.
Yes.
Right. And like, it's so, it's everywhere. Like where are they located? Their location's weird. It's kind of that town of like everything's the same, almost like a Napoleon Dynamite. Right, everything's flat and the same. You know what I mean? Like it could be anywhere, but it can be kind of lonely. Obviously, Charlie Brown, we know, is just it's a psychologist. Perfect situation. I can dissect you for years.
Yes,
keep getting paid. You know what I mean? But
that's what Lucy's setting herself up for. Let's be honest.
Yep. No, absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. And you never see any of the parents or adults or anything, and every one of them go wah wah wah.
Right. Yes. Every one of them have the wah wah. That's right. Every one of them have the same speak.
But the actual special itself
the ears of the kids, right? You're hearing it through the ears of the kids.
Yeah. And the great message of that whole special, not only about Christmas itself and the fact that it's not Christmas, but about Jesus and whatnot, but the commercialization of everything too. And the fact they take this little tree and make it this gorgeous thing at the very end, even though it's really just a twig on a little crossbar of wood, and that's it.
Yes.
But yeah, it is. There's something extra magical about that particular special, that particular show. That you just
a little bit of a taste here. A little taste.
I point to the right. It means focus, attention, stage right. If I make a slashing motion across my throat, it means cut the scene short. If I make a revolving
it goes on for a while, right?
Yeah, it does.
Meanders on. Eventually, they just have enough of it.
I spread my hands apart,
and then everybody's just like, "What?"
Slow down.
Okay.
It's the spirit of the actors that count.
Why did they make him director?
Am I right? I said, am I
right?
Right? And then they all start just fucking around.
Yep. And they just start dancing the same dance. Everybody's doing the same couple of moves, shaking the head. Schroeder's there, and Snoopy on guitar, Pigpen on the bass drum, on the bass guitar. Like, I mean, just unbelievable.
It is beautiful.
What a show! What a show! Now, I have going back to ornaments and toys. I have the set, the series where they're plugged in together.
Yes.
So when you click one of them, it plays the entire show. The entire show. I mean, minus a few little bits, but it's
I have that too.
Word for word. It's the entire. It's amazing. I didn't know that when I first bought it. I thought it was just like most of them. They played like a little something, right? I didn't realize it's the entire show.
They're
like
interconnected.
That goes on 20 minutes.
It's beautiful.
Right?
It's some brilliant marketing by Hallmark. Let's be honest. Hallmark owns the holiday. Let's just call it what it is. They really do. They commercialized the Christmas special.
They worked hard to get Jesus out. They're working hard to get him out.
But it still has that feel of Jesus. Because, Candace Cameron Bure. Anyway, you heard I said what I said.
That's it. You said it yourself. That's okay. It's all right. We back you. Opinions of Mike Breaux, not exactly the opinions of Entertainment Rants. Let's just put it out there.
Candace, I love you, but
Mike Breaux, not exactly opinions. All right. So
what are you talking about, huh?
Yeah, exactly. So the Charlie Brown Christmases, that's one you got to watch every year. I feel like, it's amazing. So I love to hear from kids today. Like, are they as enthralled with them as we are? Because you don't get them. How many kids are still watching cable and you have to be there at 8:30, or it's just because you can stream all of them? Like, I just half of mine are on my iTunes library, so I can just do it. And if they're not there, you can find them on Netflix, or you can find them on any of the streaming services. They're there. You can watch them anytime you want. You don't have to be. The movies are movies. That was never really the same for me. Right. Because at the time some of that stuff was coming around that I love to watch, I had it on tape. Like, I had Santa Claus the movie on videotape for a long time, so I could watch it anytime I wanted to. But it was the Christmas specials. They took a long time before they started putting those out commercially.
Exactly. Because they wanted to keep it on TV, that make appointment TV for kids, so they can get their advertisements for whatever toys or products or anything for not only the kids but for the adults too.
Buy those toys.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It's on me like a charm.
Well, you know what it is now? I don't think kids are as enthralled as that timing they have to watch it, but they have to Instagram it. They have to put it on TikTok that they're watching it, that they're doing this nostalgia look at, the Charlie Brown Christmas special or Santa Claus the movie, and giving their own 2 cents on it. But their 2 cents on it is based on their life in modern time, not when we grew up. And I think that's part of the issue a little bit. And that's one thing that I like to tell people a lot. Watch a movie or something and imagine yourself at that time of that when it was made.
Right.
That's how you can really enjoy it to the fullness that it was made at. Like a Charlie Brown Christmas
special. That can be hard for people, right? If you didn't grow up in that time, how do you put yourself in? Like, I couldn't necessarily really wrap around what it was like to watch even Mad Men, which I love, which is based in the 50s, right? Like, I get it, I understand, but I didn't live it. So, and I'm certainly obviously not a female, so I don't know what it was like for a female to live through that period of time. But even the guys who are drinking drinking and smoking through work and, being the way they were, you can't act as a guy. You can't really act that way now either. You know what I mean? So it's still like, I didn't live through that. So, I try to look at it through that prism, but certainly not somebody who lived through that time could look through
exactly.
it.
Well, it's like watching the Rudolph Christmas special. There are some things in there, again, they're being bullying to Rudolph. They're using him for his gift, like you said, and then
celebrate the show after they just bullied him.
Right, exactly. You wouldn't have that now necessarily in a Christmas special, but we still watch it, and some kids today still get it because they can watch it in that time frame in their mindset and go, okay, it's not necessarily right, but we know what good we can take from this.
Right.
But they need to Instagram and they need to put it on TikTok. They need to put it on Facebook, although maybe Facebook is now Meta. Who knows?
Well, yeah, the Facebook company is, but the Facebook app is not really changing. It's just the company. It's the overall company that has Instagram and WhatsApp and all that,
right?
Or Messenger. They're changing the overall company name to Meta, but all the individual apps and things like that will still be called Instagram and Facebook. So I think that's a slightly different. I know some people got confused about that.
Yeah. So, but no, I think that shows the timelessness of some of the Christmas specials, that you can watch them and enjoy them as they are. Again, they're not as popular, I think, these days with kids because they don't have that appointment TV anymore.
Yeah.
You can just pull it up and done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. So there have been a ton of new. Obviously, they're always going to continue to come out with new specials. That and we'll talk about this in a second because I know we're over an hour already, but that's okay. I don't mind. I love holidays. I love Christmas, so we'll talk about this if we want to. There was a new one with oh boy, I want to say it's on Netflix, and they came out with it. It's with Kurt Russell and Goldie
Kurt Russell,
Hawn.
The Christmas Chronicles and Christmas Chronicles
Yes.
2 with him and Goldie Hawn in the first movie they ever
Interesting.
acted in together since
I know,
Overboard.
right? Yeah, I know.
Since Overboard.
For how long? And
They're not married. They've never
not
married.
anymore, right? They were though, but they separated when?
No, they never separated. They just stayed together as a couple. They've never.
I think they got married.
Yeah, maybe they did recently, but they never had to. But yeah, I love that because it was such a unique take on Santa Claus himself.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. The fact that he's a little bit of a rock and roll kind of guy.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't get things quite right. Things don't go well all the time. And the fact that he has got, again, Goldie Hawn as Mrs. Claus, and she's like no nonsense as well. Like, it's got a little bit of a tude, but I think it was an instant classic for Netflix to do.
Yes, the Christmas Chronicles 1 and 2. Yeah.
Yep.
I love that. Enjoy them. We did. Now, okay, so here's the ones that I know what it was. Claus. We loved Claus. The Academy. They actually was nominated for an Academy Award. It's just called Claus. It's an animation.
Okay.
It's on Netflix. If you get the chance, I definitely recommend it. I actually liked it more than the Christmas Chronicles.
Really?
It's a little out there. Yeah, it's a little bit of a old-timey tale. If you get the chance, watch Claus. I definitely would recommend that.
Oh, let's see.
Klaus. It starts with a K.
Okay.
You ever get a chance, I would definitely recommend watching Claus. All right, so here's something. The bane of my wife drives her crazy. Elf on the Shelf.
Oh God.
Okay, talk to me about your take on Elf on the Shelf and why he's not an elf in the toilet.
Elf in the Shelf, as a toy guy, as someone who's worked in toy stores multiple times, and when Elf on the Shelf first sort of hit way back in 2010, 2012 or whatever, I was working at a toy store, a local one here called O'Doodle's at the time. It's no longer open. And the first time it came out, I looked at it and I go, oh my God, they just ripped off Minch on a Bench.
Yeah.
That's all they did. Minch on a Bench was first and foremost one of the coolest things to come out. It was a great toy for the Jewish community to have that for themselves and not tied to any kind of Christmas thing whatsoever. And I looked at Elf on a Shelf and I go, that's just a ripoff. That's all that is.
But a ripoff that definitely surpassed the original. Like you know what I mean? Like I think a lot of people wouldn't understand or know what Minch on the Bench is. I mean, you get it by the name, but like they've never seen it. But who hasn't come across or tripped over an Elf on the Shelf? From every store, every toy store, Michael's, everywhere you go, you're gonna find some Elf on the Shelf stuff. I
think it's a great little family thing to have for interactivity and for your kids and stuff. But then you see a lot of the pictures online that are just like, okay, if your kids see this, they're going to get disturbed.
Dead set against it. My wife is dead set against having to deal with Elf on the Shelf. She's like, that will never enter our house. I do not want this freaky thing entering our house, and we have to move it every night.
And let's be honest, it's basically you've got somebody watching your kid 24/7 as if he has a camera inside the elf, and that's what he's doing. That's a little creep. I mean, Santa knows when you've been bad or good, but it doesn't mean he's watching you 24/7. He just knows when you've been bad or good. That's a whole different thing.
It definitely runs into a creep factor, especially in 2021.
Right. Exactly. I'm like, no, I'm good. I only have guinea pigs as my kids, quote unquote. And I have a camera on them because that's me. They're guinea pigs. They're not real kids. If I had kids, only when I'm home am I going to have a camera on them.
We have one on our son over the crib just so at nighttime because he's only 15 months old. See what's going on.
That's your Elf on the Shelf right there, and only the parents can watch it. No one else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's no Santa watching that. Just no. So that's my take on Elf on the Shelf. Cool concept, neat idea. No, just no.
Just a freak, just freaky. It's just weird. No. I don't know. I can't.
Kids already have enough stuffed animals that they're good.
No kidding. All right, so Grinch, new Grinch, old Grinch. Obviously, we have the original. Right, with Boris Karloff, and now you have the newer version done by Scott Mosier, who was, Clerks fame with Kevin Smith, his producer, things like that, went off and did the new Grinch.
Yeah, it's still classic for me. I haven't seen the new one, but
I've seen it. It's not bad. I mean, it's not bad. It's definitely watchable.
Right.
It's definitely watchable. It will never replace the original. There's just no way about it. And
Right.
it won't even replace the Jim Carrey movie for me. But it's definitely, it's fun. It's that new style film, animation. I enjoyed it. I have to say, I didn't think I would going into it.
Okay.
I thought it was I saw some of the trailers and things like that, and I was like, but I'm one to give things a try. I
Right.
will try, even if I'm like, I'm not going to watch that. Eventually, I'll end up giving it a try. As we know, if you heard our Hamilton
Yes, I
podcast,
heard
I
that. It was
will
good.
eventually give things a try. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Well, that's like me with Elf, the movie Elf with Will Ferrell. I just was like, "I'm not interested, I don't wanna watch it," and then all of a sudden, I just popped it in one day, and I'm like, "Oh my god, why have I not watched this?" So, eventually, I might watch a new Grinch or something.
But that's the
Uh,
point, right? Like that is a perfect way to talk about it because you might have that attitude about something, but at the end of the day, it's an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours of your life, and you could now find something that is one of your new favorites. But
right,
you're not going to do that at first because you just,
whatever.
it's I don't want it to replace the things I love. You don't know. It could be. I mean, I'm not a horror movie fan, so I don't really go towards horror
Right,
movies. I don't really watch them because I don't really like many of them. I like the original Halloween. That's about my favorite. But so I'm not going to try that because it's just not my genre, but I love Christmas movies. So it's a new Christmas movie. So why not give it a try? I might actually like it. You know what I mean?
exactly.
Just,
And that's like
what is it
me,
going to
like
take? You can't see everything. We understand you can't try and
right,
watch everything. You'll never leave your house. But, Elf became such a massive, massive hit. Not that you want to just follow like a sheep, but, it's a hit for a reason, but
and
I
that
think
was
there are a
part of
lot
it
of people
too. It
who
was
like that.
For me, it was almost like it's too much of a hit. It can't be that good. People just following things, and when I watch, I'm like, "Oh my god, this is great."
Well,
Zoe
there's a reason
Deschanel
it's
was
a hit. It's a
yeah,
reason it
well,
did so well.
that and also Zoe Deschanel is super cute in it,
Oh, yeah.
little
Yeah,
crush,
I had a little
sorry.
crush on her. A little crush on her when I first saw that. That was
Yeah,
kinda my first introduction to her.
mhm,
I didn't really know who she was very much until I saw that. Now, obviously, I've seen her everywhere, but,
right,
yeah, I think so. I
yeah.
agree. I'll agree on that one.
That was it for me, so oh,
There you go. Alright, so do you wanna do now we're at about an hour and 17 minutes-ish or so. Do you wanna do toys today, or do you wanna save toys for another day? And kinda go through the whole, like, as we get a little closer
you
to
know what?
Christmas,
I think
do
we
another
might need to
toy
save
episode
toys.
for everybody?
Let's do a toys episode another day for everybody because I might have a few stories about that, and they could go a bit long, and I know you do too with the new son and everything, so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can only
Oh, yeah.
imagine what your stories
I've
are.
already started. I've already started. Everybody, my mother, my mother-in-law, my wife, you're like, keep it under control. He's only
Yep.
one. He's 15 months old. He'll be like 17 months old at Christmas. He's not going to remember. He'll play with the wrapping and the boxes. Don't
Oh,
go buying him a bunch of stuff. Wait till next year or the year after when he'll actually play with the stuff and remember. And they're not wrong. They're
no.
not wrong. But I was, as you can tell, I was a Christmas kid. Like
Yeah.
that's my holiday. I wait, even as an adult, I wait all year for it. It's obviously flipped for me. It's not about getting the presents now. It's about
Now it's
giving the
about giving
presents
them.
now.
Yep.
I love giving gifts all year, but especially at Christmas time. And I definitely go overboard with my wife and
Yep.
family and whatnot. But I just enjoy it so much. Yeah, everybody loves getting a gift. I love getting gifts. I'm not gonna lie, but it's definitely flipped. I love giving gifts this year, and now I have a son to give gifts to. And I did have some of the best Christmases ever. Like, I compare it
Yeah.
to other people that I've talked to, even my wife, who had wonderful Christmases. But my parents, especially my mother, I should preface this. My father loved him to pieces. He just shook his head the whole time.
Right.
All my mother was buying and just shook his head. My mother would have the big bag, the toys under the tree. Everything was individually wrapped.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it's just, it was insane. And then I went to my grandmother's house on my mother's side, and it happened all over again. It was a floor to
That
ceiling,
is
literally
crazy.
to
That's
the
beautiful
ceiling
though.
pile of toys. Because my brother and I, for a while, were the only two grandkids
Right.
for a while. You know what I
And
mean?
that's
Like I'm the younger one of the two, and my niece, my cousin was like 10 years or so behind me. So you know what I
yeah.
mean? So like there was a while we were the only two getting gifts on that side. So
Oh,
it was
that's so
it
bad.
was
That's so bad
my
at
father
all.
had to, my poor dad had to lug it all home. You know what I mean? He'd stay there later. My mom was
That's
like,
why
take
he's shaking his head. He's like, "Oh no, I gotta pick all this up and
yeah,
take
because he
it."
already knows what's at the house that we already got, and now we're gonna bring the whole entire second Christmas home. Like
Yep.
it was insane. So Christmases were magical. My family, my mother especially, just made Christmases unbelievable every year. I loved
Yep.
decorating the tree, and as I got older, I still did. It came down to like my mother and I would do it most. Of my dad always did the lights, and eventually he stopped doing that, and I did them. And me and my brother would help out, and then we just we just love decorating the tree and listen and watch our Christmas movies while we were doing it. So it was just a magical time. And I think Christmas itself is a magical time of year, whether you celebrate it or not. And that's, you
Yep.
do your thing, but just the overall spirit of humanity and people around Christmas, it definitely, even though not everybody celebrates it, that holiday and that holiday time moves the needle for a little bit. It just even
It
a
does.
little bit. It moves people's needle of like, I'm being a jackass to, hey, let's be a little nicer to people. Like, this is a better time of year. As much as, and working with retail, you hear Christmas music is already playing. They're already playing Christmas music in
Yes.
stores. God
Mariah
bless them.
Carey's already in full effect.
I walked in, I've had like, a couple months. You have good months, you have bad months, right? And I had, this month has been a little off for me in the business. We had a lot of great, influx of new people, but a lot of people also leaving because it just happens every October. It's not like us; it's just normal for October for us. And so it's just been a bad month. And I had to go to Home Depot to pick up a 2-wheeler the other day, and they were full on decked out with all this stuff. And I literally smiled like as miserable as I was, I had this massive smile and I could not get it off my face. Just going to pick up a 2-wheeler at Home Depot. God bless them. All the Christmas stuff was out.
Right.
The trees are out. All the giant blow up stuff was out. I was like, I needed that. It was a rejuvenation of my spirit. And to me, that's what Christmas does. It just rejuvenates me. You know what I mean? Every year you go through that time. However, the flip side is, and this is, I know, weird for people, that December 26th, I hate it because it's over.
Yeah,
Christmas is over. You know what I mean? It's
You're going to start a new year in a moment.
And as you get older, that day seems to go faster. That 24 hours seems to be really fast now. And I'm sure it will be again with my son. But, it's just like, shit, it's over. You know what I mean? And I got to wait another year for this. And so, like last year, now this was obviously a special year because of COVID, but, we kept our tree up well into, I think it was March or April. I think it was March. Usually I keep it up past my birthday, which is mid-January. I definitely keep it up past that.
That's
and
okay.
I will.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. I keep it up past my birthday. And so it's a fake tree. So it doesn't, not like we're going to burn the house down. But, I definitely do that because I love the spirit, the music we listen to endlessly, over and over. We listen to the music, things like. In fact, and this is weird, my wife and I still all year round have Christmas music as our alarm clock. So we wake up every morning to Christmas music.
There's nothing wrong with that.
iHeartRadio does a Christmas. They have their Christmas station. So iHeartRadio, we have that plays every morning through our Alexa.
That's awesome.
Yeah. All year round, we don't stop.
I can remember, Christmases for me were very special. As my mom and my dad. I'm my mom's only son, my dad's last child, and the youngest of all the siblings and whatnot. By at least 15 years difference. So I was the baby and got all the toys I wanted for Christmas 9 times out of 10. As long as I did well in school, Santa was watching my grades. Had to do well in school. But every one of those Christmases, and I'll talk about this. I lost my dad when I was 10 years old in March of '86. So my last Christmas with my dad was when I was 10 years old, and that Christmas was Transformers, He-Man. It was G.I. Joe. I got all those things and like a really cool bike at the time too, like all of that. So I remember that Christmas vividly because I know Santa brought me the bike, but my dad was putting it together.
Right.
And I heard him doing that right before the morning. I'm like, I know my daddy's putting it together. So I remember that vividly. Yeah. So that's one of those memories that sticks with me. Huh?
Your dad passed away when you were younger, but I didn't know you were only 10.
Yeah, I was 10. It was 11 days before my 11th birthday.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, exactly.
Man. Yeah,
so,
no kidding. Jesus.
So that's why I remember that one very vividly, but I remember my mom being, trying to make the cookies all the time and whatnot. And we had a small dinner for just us three. Sometimes my youngest brother to me would be there too. And I have a lot of great photos. I don't have many photos from when I was a kid, but I have a lot of Christmas photos. So I know that those are like extra special times. There's one of me where I'm playing with an Attack track from like 82, 83. And there's a Dukes of Hazzard gift set with like the General Lee and the Dukes in there.
Yeah, my Dukes.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, we will definitely have to do a whole podcast because that will be well over an hour.
Oh yeah. So I think toys is going to be our next one.
New Christmas toys. We'll check that out on the next podcast.
And I will talk about working Christmas in a toy store at 3 different toy stores with 3 different major stories that I can tell you.
Awesome. Oh my. Looking forward to that. All right. So we're done. We'll book that date and you and I will get together in like sometime in November. So I'm going away the week of the 12th through the 19th. So
we'll get it in before then.
Yeah, we'll try to get in before then. So that way we can have it on the shelf ready to go. Awesome. All right, Mike. Thank you as always. We'll jump offline and see if we have time for another. But if not, that's okay too. I want to thank Mike Breaux from the Breaux Show. Mike, give everybody all your details again, please.
All right, everybody can find me on Instagram at The Breaux Show. That's TheBreaux as an X-ray, SHOW at The Breaux Show on Instagram, also on Twitter, also on Facebook. You can find me everywhere. And you can even find me on TikTok. I got no videos up quite yet, but you can still find me on there if you want. All at The Breaux Show. And remember, hashtag just bro it, do a good deed a day. Ho,
Excellent.
ho, ho. And that's an HEAUX there, just letting you know. Ho, ho, ho.
Now I have a machine gun too. Fantastic, Mike. Thank you so much. This was great. It's definitely one of my favorite episodes so far that we've done. We've only started in August, so we have about 21 episodes. This is so far by far one of my favorite episodes that we've done. Definitely check us out online, everybody, at entertainmentrants.com. We're on all of our social media. Facebook and Twitter is at Entertainment Rants. No, excuse me. Facebook and Instagram at Entertainment Rants. Twitter is Entertain Rants. But our Instagram is where we do most of our work. We do a lot of posting on Instagram. So definitely find us there. Communicate with us there. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the show, which ones you like, what about the show you like, what you don't like. Drop us a review on Apple Podcasts. We'd like to hear from you guys. You can always email us a future subject you'd like us to talk about at engage@entertainmentrants.com. All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening, and we'll see you next time. Get out there and keep ranting, everybody.
Rock on, everybody.